Hey everybody, that's right, you read that correctly. Welcome to another episode of Range Ninjas. I am Mike B, and I know I told a lot of you that this series would not be coming back, but I decided that some of these stories, going through them again, I've had them on the computer for over a year, are actually worth telling, and it's good safety lessons, and they're also kind of funny, and they fall into the category of Range Ninjas. So, first of all, I will explain a little bit what a Range Ninja is. I've updated the definition a little bit from the previous video series last year. They're often related to a mall ninja, if you know what that is. It's people basically that can afford thousands of dollars in like Gucci gear, and they've got everything all tricked out. This usually comes from like their trust fund. 9 times out of 10 that's the case. Otherwise it's just their parents just giving them money. Rarely is it people actually getting money on their own unless they're older, which makes it even more cringe. And so they have all this gear, all this equipment, all these plate carriers, helmets and stuff, but it doesn't help them at all at the range. They refuse to like listen to anybody. They want to be cool like they see on YouTube videos and video games. They really don't have any skills or common sense when it comes to shooting. They can't really hit anything. It's pretty sad to watch. So that's what a mall ninja is. They can basically afford all this shit with zero skills. A range ninja is somebody that takes that to the range, and it's an unexperienced and usually very enthusiastic firearm owner who pretends to be a seasoned operator at the range, which is, if you're going to do this on your own property and there's nobody else around, there's really no chance of you hurting anybody else. That's not really a big deal. But this is usually the case when you're at a range, or especially a public range, where this behavior happens, and it can really have some serious ramifications, as you're going to hear in this story that was submitted by a YouTube viewer. I think he subscribes to. And these guys either roll with the cheapest imitation stuff that makes it look Gucci, or they actually do spend thousands of dollars on the real Gucci stuff. And it's the most top-of-the-line shit possible, and it doesn't make one goddamn bit of difference with their blatant lack of range safety, range etiquette, and marksmanship, because they usually suck dick at all three of those categories, but can't really be told otherwise, if that makes sense. These people are usually people who never served in the actual military, which is not a prerequisite for being a firearm owner, but they act like they have. And if they were in the military, they most likely flew a desk or drove a file cabinet, one of those kind of people. Or the most usual answer is the elite Delta Force, Navy SEAL, Sniper, Marine Force, Recon, American Hero, blah, 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 that kind of bullshit that they'll say they were, and they clearly were not, because they wouldn't be pulling this kind of shit if they had been. Now, with that kind of gives you a little bit of context. I know it's rambly, but it's kind of important to understand if you don't know what a range ninja is. So we'll get started with the story. This is from Ray Feltz, and again, this is from last year. I'm pretty sure he still subscribes, so Ray, sorry it took so long, but finally getting to your story. I did cut the first part of it out. I think we had talked about that for brevity, because the second part was a little bit more interesting, I think. Not that your whole story wasn't interesting, but it's more of a lesson learned in the second part, like we were talking about. So, he says, I actually have two off the top of my head. So at an outdoor range, it's in Indiana/Illinois territory, and we're shooting, having fun doing stuff. The RSOs, range safety officers, there are actually pretty chill and often let you bend or straight up break some rules. To elaborate, it's mostly safety stuff, but there are a couple that are like no rapid fire and stay behind the line while shooting. The RSO will let you probe out a little bit across the line if you want, and if you're doing a training exercise like a bear drill, which I don't know what that is, where a little rapid fire is required, they'll let you do it. Just don't be obnoxious, and if somebody complains, you have to stop. Simple. That's fair enough at a public range. That sounds very reasonable to me. That doesn't seem super excessive, and I'm really glad we don't have any RSOs around where I'm at, and we have a lot of private land we can shoot on if you know people. So, but anyway, so a lot of you guys don't have access to that, so that's why you're gonna be kind of in this situation at a public range. All right. So I edited the first part out for brevity, and then he says I saved the worst for last. So same range, different day. I'm at the second to last left lane. Wanted the wall, but it was pretty busy, and beggars can't be choosers. So the dude to my left leaves, and in his place comes King Dipshit, from here on KD, for keeping it shorter. KD unpacks his shit and asks the RO, range officer, if he can do transitions. He says yes, but not from a holster. KD says he can work with it. KD is left-handed. I'm to his right with my AR-10. He stands to the right of his desk and places his Glock on the table, and goes back and puts on his plate carrier and slings his rifle to his chest. Just pause that for a second. Just because you wear a plate carrier and you want to train how you think you're going to fight, that isn't a big deal with me. Like, that's fine. I do some of that shooting sometimes too, to get used to it, because it is different to shoot with a plate carrier on, and I understand it. That alone does not make you a dipshit. The following, what happens, makes you a dipshit. He then stands to the right of his table, probably so he didn't accidentally hit the table with his rifle. And begins firing his rifle. One shot, transition, pistol, one shot, over and over. He's engaging the safety every time. I know because I hear an audible click in between every shot. So the dude is wildly throwing his rifle down to transition to his pistol, like almost trying to do the rock and roll move where you spin the guitar around your body. Like, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. I don't have the right sling on this thing to do that, but I know what you're talking about, where it's here, and you throw it behind you so it swings like that and goes back up, and it kind of, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He hasn't hit me because he's throwing it down and grabbing his pistol up. Then he gets a big noggin jog and stands his Glock up so he can scoop it up and do the ultimate tactical transition. In doing so, he spins and his rifle swings out and hits me right in the corner of the mouth, and I immediately stand up shouting, "Fuck, fuck, fuck." While spinning to my right, I do a full 60 and people are running to me because they think I just got shot in the fucking face. One rolls up with a medical bag, one dude comes up with his IFAK, and a dude with an anchor and globe tattoo comes at me with an Israeli bandage and duct tape. Before you ask, I don't know. It's a Marine thing, I guess. If it makes sense, it's probably not doing it right in the Marine Corps. Anyway, I tell them I haven't been shot, but I just had King Dipshit try and force feed me his barrel. Everybody takes turns yelling something at him about how dumb he is, and the range officer tells him to pack his shit and leave, and he does. Good news, no broken teeth or stitches. Bad news, a gash on my cheek, a ripped up mustache, a bruised, bleeding, and busted lip, and bleeding gums. By the way, if you put a muzzle device that looks like the love child between a wire brush and a Cadillac wire rim on your gun, fuck you. Ray says, I really like the ROs at the range, so don't blame them for other stupidity. Everyone else is capable of moving the table over for more room, when they need to, or not being obnoxious. Please appreciate one of a very few range officers who is in a total FUD. One day he even let a group of friends and I shoot for $10 all day because it was slow. Cool story. Yeah, there are a lot of really cool RSOs I've heard out there. A lot of good ROs, but there's an equal number of shitty ones. So it's good to recognize the good ones. I'm glad you put that in there. So yeah, my thoughts on that situation. If you get hit, even with just the standard A2 style muzzle, it really hurts. It's a really powerful weapon. It's a melee weapon. That's how we were actually trained to use that as a melee weapon if we didn't have a bayonet. If you do a mount or something like that, that if they grab your rifle, you just jam it into their face because of things like this. Like, he could have lost teeth. Ray could have easily lost teeth. That's why he said he was lucky. Don't do this shit at a public range when you're jam-packed in there like that. Again, if it's a slow day and the ROs are okay with that, that's fine. Do your thing. Try to be safe. It's not safe if you're not experienced doing this. But people, again, they see this on YouTube videos. They see people that have been doing this for years and have formal training on it, and they think that they can go out and do the same shit and they can just go to the run phase instead of going through the crawl and walk phase. That's not true. Find somebody who actually knows what they're doing and is, competent and certified and has a good word. If you're going to be trained by somebody, they're going to teach you how to crawl, then walk, then run, and you'll be a lot safer and you'll be a lot more proficient at that tactic or style of drill or whatever you're doing. You'll be a lot more proficient with that in the long run. So I'm really glad that that was a good one. Sorry about that. It had to happen, or else I was going to sound like that dude on Rick and Morty when they're going through the decompression or de-stressing chamber or whatever. Anyway, I got sidetracked. So yeah, Ray, I'm glad it didn't turn out any worse, even though I haven't been hit in the face with the muzzle of an AR, but I've been hit in other parts of my body, and oh my God, I can't even imagine how scary that would be. And if he's whipping that thing, I know those things really hurt. So I'm glad it was okay. I mean, obviously this is a while ago for you, but yeah, just if you see people doing shit like that, let somebody know. If you feel uncomfortable, it's better to let somebody know and go, hey, I'm not okay with that. Somebody's going to get hurt either with the melee or he doesn't flip the safety off. It catches on some of his gear and I catch a round to the face. So yeah, that's something that I'm really glad that usually it's just friends and I that go out to a private piece of land and everybody there are pretty familiar with firearms and pretty safe with them, and it's so much more relaxed and it's so much better than having to go out there and run the risk of dealing with dipshits like this guy did. So anyway, glad you're okay, Ray. Glad they kicked him off the range. He totally deserved that, and hopefully that kind of either planted a seed in his little brain about, hey, maybe I need to watch my shit and not try to be so hardcore. Or it probably didn't. It's one of those two options, but either way, again, glad you're okay. So thank you for the story, Ray. If you guys want me to read your story, don't just try to be funny and make shit up. Like, this is a real story and it's actually got a lesson to it. Some of it's funny because we've all seen this kind of shit and we can relate. But yeah, if you have an actual story like this, either throw it in the comments or you can message me on look up Mike B on Facebook at my page, and you can go send me a message there, and maybe I'll read your story in one of these Range Ninja videos. All right, I can't talk today, guys. I'm trying to get through this. Anyway, so that's all I've got for this. It's a pretty interesting story. it's as soon as you see people do shit like that, you know something's gonna happen. So it's just a matter of time. Again, it's not good when somebody gets hurt at all, but it could have been a lot worse. So with that, if you want to keep these kind of things going, send me your stories and all that stuff. And also you can consider becoming a sponsor of the channel, aka a Patreon supporter or a channel member. That really helps me be able to do stuff like this, kind of get little props to dress up and, LARP while I'm doing this, kind of for fun. Those of you that don't get that I'm doing this as a joke, I'm explaining it to you right now. I don't actually dress like this normally. It's funny, the tactical flannel. Let's get real. Anyway, yeah, so $5 a month or more on either platform gets into my Discord server, which is a really cool place. A lot of people are on there. It's a cool hangout. I like it. There's a lot of information that's exchanged on there. New acquisitions, video ideas, etc., etc. So, yeah, anyway, that's a really cool way to support the work. It also helps, like Devin K and I do ballistic tests on helmets and stuff. Really expensive videos that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do just funding out of pocket. So that's a cool thing. If you want to support the channel, but you can't do it financially, I totally understand it. That's fine. You can do the usual stuff. Like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. And also you can share this video out. That really does help it if you think this is funny. I know, last year everybody liked this and they wanted the series to come back. So we're going to do it now. I'm listening to you guys, even though it's not my favorite thing to do. I'm just going to be kind of less trolly about it than I was last year, less of an attitude, because I don't think that's necessary to get the point across. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next episode, probably, of Range Ninjas.